Hi everybody from TechnoLost, so welcome to the dedicated focus on the LG Nexus 5 performances while running against some benchmark like Quadrant Advanced, Antutu, Epic, Citadel and speedtest.net. So let's start with Quadrant Advanced, and while the benchmark is running, just let me remind you a few hardware specs of this device. We have the CPU, which is the Snapdragon 800, to be more precise is the MSM 8974 hardware architecture. It's a quad-core CPU clock at 2.26 GHz with a production service of 28 nanometers. Then we have 2 GB of LPDDR3 memory, and we have the GPU, which is the Adreno 330. It's a pretty fast GPU clock at 450 MHz. Of course, we have this beautiful 5 inches diagonal display, which is an IPS panel. Very nice indeed, very good color and very good viewing angles. The glass covering the screen is a Corning Gorilla Glass 3. So these are more or less everything that we need to know for what concerns benchmarks and speed. So here we have the result of this benchmark, which is 7,760. I could, even score up to 9,000 with this LG Nexus 5. But to be honest, this is even half the score that we can get with a similar device with a similar architecture, which is maybe not a similar device, but at least a device with a similar hardware architecture. I'm talking about the Galaxy Note 3 version 9005, which is the same hardware architecture, Snapdragon 800 MSM 8974 with 3 GB. Well, we have 3 GB, but this is not dealing with the memory, to be more honest. At least for what concerns the score, which is the half that we can obtain with the Note 3. I will talk to you later about these things of the score. So let's perform the next benchmark, which is the Antutu benchmark. Let's try it again together. Here we go. Okay, here we have the score of this device, which is 24,687. I could score up to 28,000 with this device, which is definitely less than what we can obtain with the Galaxy Note 3, scoring almost 35,000, or even the Z Ultra scoring 33 up to 34,000. So we have a pretty good difference between these and other devices, and I will talk to you later about these things. And now let's just run the latest benchmark dealing with CPU and GPU and RAM bandwidth performances, which is the Epic Citadel benchmark. You should already know this test is all based on the Unreal Engine, and it's a pretty good engine for what concerns games. And this is a pretty good benchmark too, very graphic appealing. Let's give a look to the performance settings here. We already set up the ultra high quality, so let's select ultra high quality and rendering resolution percentage up to 100%. So this is the best settings that we can choose to have the highest quality into this benchmark. So let's run the benchmark. As you can see, we always have very high frame rate here, almost 50 and 40. It's not usual to get below 40 frames per second here, at least with this device, while with other devices having the same hardware architecture, we get different benchmark. So the point of, I was talking to you a few minutes ago about the fact that we have maybe half the score that we can obtain with devices like the Galaxy Note 3 with this LG Nexus 5. But I mean even devices like the Z1 or the Z Ultra have almost double the score of this device, at least in benchmark like Quadrant or Antutu. Well, we read several times in web blogs like, for instance, Ars Technica has a very good article on the fact that several OEM like Samsung, Sony, LG use some let's say dirty trick when running benchmark like Antutu and Quadrant. For instance, Samsung speed up the clock of the GPU just to obtain a higher score with these devices like the Galaxy S4 and the Galaxy Note 3. Well, you can be sure that these LG Nexus 5 won't perform any kind of cheating while running benchmark like Quadrant and Antutu. But this must not be the only case. I mean, we cannot just obtain double the score. So this is maybe some kind of optimization, all aim to obtain better score into Quadrant and Antutu. But if we run benchmark like this, Epic Citadel, you can see we score 51.1, but we could even score 54 with this LG Nexus 4. Okay, we have a little bit less resolution. We have 1080 for 1080p, which is a little bit less than Full HD, just because we have the navigation bar here, which is stealing 100 pixel. That's it. But we have very high score with the Galaxy Note 3 with almost the same resolution. I mean, the Galaxy Note 3 doesn't have the software button here, so we have the whole full HD resolution. So it's 19 for 1080p. In that case, we have 40 frames per second, so 10 frames per second less than this Galaxy Nexus 5. But the point is that although we have different benchmark, definitely this LG Nexus 5 this is not the Galaxy Nexus 5, of course, it's the LG Nexus 5. It's maybe the fastest device that you can find, the fastest Android device that you can find actually on the market. Maybe just devices like the Z1 or the recent Z1 Compact or even the Z Ultra, are more or less as speedy as this one. But this is the speedest you can find, into the Android panorama. Let's give a look here. How fast is this device in everyday life? It's extremely fast. It's such a pleasure to use. So don't be afraid of the scores of benchmark. There's not really kind of problem with this device. Now let's give a look to the last benchmark of the set, which is the speed test net, which is quite interesting for what concern testing the speed of the LTE connectivity. In this case, I'm using H3G carrier, and we try with the H3G server, of course, in the same city where I live, just to be sure that we can obtain the highest score. We didn't pass midnight, so I'm betting that the H3G carrier will perform some kind of traffic shaping. We should have a speed cap, and that's it. In fact, we won't go over 35 megabit per second upload speed, but we should go faster just after midnight, and I guess we won't go faster than 10 megabit per second upload speed before midnight. We'll see in a few seconds if this is the case. Don't worry, I've been performing this test for several nights, so usually after midnight we get better speed, and I will show you later because we have a whole history of result for this speed test.net. So let's start the test two more times just to be sure that we have the speed cap that I was talking to you about. Here we go. You can see we won't pass 35. Here we are even slower. Anyway, you won't pass for sure 35, let's say. Look at this. And now you won't go too far from 10 megabit per second in upload speed, at least until midnight. That's it. The ping is not that bad. We have 47 millisecond, which is pretty nice. Let's perform the last time, then I will show you the history of result. Usually after midnight we have very nice result. I mean, this is not a very scientific test because it all depends on the net, it all depends on the weather, it all depends how busy is the net. So this is not the most scientific one test, but can be, pretty interesting if you test it, during a big span of days, big periods, so how many times you perform the test and all the results that you obtain every time you test this device. Let me show you. Here you can see the highest possible speed that I've obtained, and download speed I'm talking about is the 88.83, so pretty high download speed, and even the upload speed is 33.87. As you can see, the time I obtained this speed is past 2 a.m. That's why I had such good result. Anyway, this device is a very fast device, even for what concern LTE connectivity. So for what concern this performance focus on the LG Nexus 5, that's all. What's more, thanks for watching, and bye from TechnoLost.